What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you a test and combo video using the Yubel profile I showed you all the other day, post Legacy of Destruction. So you lot smashed that like button way above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, so I thought I'd be more than happy to bring this video for you. If you want to see more Yubel content, whether that be different versions of the deck, whether that be more future updates, then make sure you get this video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours and I will be more than happy to bring it for you. So with all of that out of the way, what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle this up, we're going to cut it up, and then we're going to do a test down going first and a test down going second to show you how the deck performs on a randomized basis and show you how it can build going forward. So our open hand will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Absolutely amazing because we get to show off both of the brand new cards already. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start off with the Nightmare Throne. So this is a field spell that when it's activated, you take a Fiend monster with 0/0 from the deck and add it to your hand or destroy it. Now obviously I could destroy Spirit of Yubel, which would get me Yubel into rotation, which is absolutely amazing. But you kind of want to be getting Spirit of Yubel special summon to the board in order to get its effect off. So the best thing you're going to want to do is activate this, and if you haven't got it already, you're going to go for your Samsara D Lotus, which of course we do not. So you're going to go directly for your Samsara D Lotus, and this is how you're going to pretty much start off your entire combo. So you start off with Samsara, you're going to tribute it off in order to special summon a Yubel monster from the deck, being of course Spirit of Yubel. Now keeping in mind, your Infernal Grave Swimmer will be able to summon itself down as long as you control a Fiend monster, so as long as you maintain that, you're in a good position. And the reason this is so good is it allows you to actually add a negate to your end board as well if you want to. So we're going to resolve Spirit of Yubel going into Nightmare Pain. We're going to activate Nightmare Pain to destroy the Spirit of Yubel and pretty much follow the exact same kind of combo route, getting us direct access to our Eternal Favourite, triggering the Spirit of Yubel's effect in order to special summon out Yubel. Once we get to it, there we go. So now we're in a very good position because what you can technically do if you wanted to is you could use the Samsara D Lotus and the Spirit of Yubel in the graveyard to spin them back to the deck, and that will then allow you to get out the brand new Phantom of Yubel. However, what you can also do, because you've got the ability to special summon down your Grave Swimmer because you control a Fiend monster, is it means that when you get to the end phase, you can actually bring back the Samsara D Lotus and then use Yubel's effect to tribute off the Infernal Grave, and that will mean that you're in a better position as well because you've been able to maintain your board presence and you've been able to add to this end board Yubel alongside a Samsara D Lotus. Now of course you can go different ways as well because of that ability of the Infernal Grave Swimmer, that when it summons to the board you get to you can destroy one monster you control. So you can destroy the Yubel if you want to, as long as it mentions Yubel. You can also banish this card from the graveyard to special summon a Fiend monster with 0/0 from your hand or graveyard except itself. So again, you're kind of putting yourself in a position that what you're trying to do here is you then come down, you destroy Yubel, you trigger off Yubel's effect. This will then allow you to get into, wherever it may be, your Terra Incarnate. Now what you're trying to do here while putting Terra Incarnate on the board is you're going to want to use that as a form of link fodder. So because you've got both of these here, you're going to be able to link these together, and this will then allow you to get into your, once I find it, Unchanged Soul, Lord of Yama. So as you've got the very basic line that I was talking to you about where you end up just on a Yubel plus a Samsara D Lotus. And for those of you unfamiliar with this, you actually have a second effect on the Samsara D Lotus, which is really, really nice. That if you control Yubel and this card is in the graveyard, you could add this card from the to your hand or special summon it, which is great. But then during your opponent's turn, when a monster effect is activated while you control a Yubel monster, you get to tribute this card and the activated effect becomes destroy a Yubel monster on the field. So it will allow you to pop Yubel and then float into the Terra Incarnate. So keep in mind that you're going to be utilizing both of those if you wanted to. However, because we was able to destroy the Terra Incarnate and go into the Yama will now allow us to trigger the effect, and that will allow us to add the Shayama from the deck to the hand. Now obviously it's a little bit more useful if you do have gates because then you've got a bit more discard fodder. But you've also got to remember that you still have the ability to revive from the graveyard using your Scrimmer, because the Scrimmer is absolutely insane. You get to banish this card from the graveyard to special summon a Fiend monster with 0/0 from hand or graveyard except itself. So the best thing about that is I can bring back Yubel. We'd still get the same end phase effect of Lotus if you wanted to as well. You also have the ability that if you were able to make this prior to that and then get a discard going, you'll be able to destroy more cards as well, which I'll show you exactly how you can do that right now. So what you're going to want to do here is you're now going to want to use the Infernal Grave Swimmer's effect to banish it and then bring back one monster from the graveyard. So we'll go for Yubel. Then what you'll do here is you'll want to be able to link off Yubel and your Yama, putting those both together, and this is going to allow you to go into your Muckrocker, which is why it's so important that even if you don't have access to the gates, but you do have Shayama, you go into something like Muckrocker, because it will allow you to loop your plays back around, and then what you're trying to do is you're trying to set up the destruction effect of Shayama from the graveyard as well, and utilize the Yama to float back even more resource. Yes, you will lock yourself into Fiends, but that's absolutely fine because we're only going to be using Fiends anyway. Now, if you are really, really worried about anything, you've got plenty of fodder in the graveyard now to be able to spin back a Yubel monster and a Fiend with 0/0. So this will allow you to pretty much put back Spirit of Yubel if you want to, and the Terra Incarnate. The two you want to leave in the graveyard will be Samsara and Yubel, because you're going to be able to utilize them a little bit later on as well. So if you spin these back, it's fine because you'll destroy the Yubel in order to flip around the Terra Incarnate. You just need to make sure that when you're using Terra Incarnate in the end phase, or before the end phase, you use Terra Incarnate as your link fodder to get into your next link monster. So we'll put them both back to deck because obviously Yubel can summon it from the deck, and you'll go into your Phantom of Yubel just to provide you with a bit more protection going forward. Now use Muckrocker's effect, discard the Shayama, bring back the Yubel. And then you've got the ability to use the Shayama's effect in the graveyard to destroy a Fiend on the board, which of course will be Yubel, to summon it back. Trigger Yubel's effect to give you access to Terra Incarnate, while also triggering the effect of the Yama in the graveyard, should you want to banish it, to bring back Yubel, because you want to keep Yubel on rotation because you've got Eternal Favourite. Now what you want to do here is making sure you leave this zone completely free. You're going to use an Unchained Soul plus your Terra Incarnate so it doesn't nuke the board in the end phase, and this is then going to allow you to go into your Rage. Then what you're going to do is you're going to move to the end phase, and in the end phase you're going to use the Samsara D Lotus effect to bring itself back to the board, and use Yubel's effect to tribute it so that you don't lose your entire board. Make sure you set your infinite impermanence as well, and then obviously if they've activated a hand trap at any point, you can talent and look at their hand as well. So this is now currently your end board. So what you have is if any of your Fiends would be destroyed by card effect, you can sacrifice Muckrocker instead. You've got Phantom of Yubel to negate a monster effect. You've got Unchained Soul of Rage, which will allow you to technically link with one of your opponent's monsters and go into an SP Little Knight. So let's say we use that. So you've got the SP Little Knight. This is then going to banish one of your opponent's cards, and then on top of that, if they activate a monster effect, you can use SP to banish it and bounce it out of the way. You've still got the negate off of the Phantom of Yubel, and then worst case scenario, if your opponent does anything, you can activate the Eternal Favourite. Obviously make sure you activate it so it's face up already, and then you're going to be able to fuse your Yubel and technically any of your other monsters except Phantom to go into your Yubel the Loving Defender, which is then going to burn your opponent for even more resource. So you're in a very, very good position. You still got Imperm to fall back on, and they are forced to go to the battle phase because of Nightmare Pain. And then you've still got the ability, should you need to, when it comes back around, is you can make a second Phantom of Yubel during your turn as well. Really, really cool and powerful, and this just shows you how much further you can go because of the new cards. So that's it for our first test stand, and as you've already seen, it does get pretty powerful, and that's just how good the Squirming Shaper is. Like, the fact that it can banish itself to bring a resource back is really, really important, and then the Phantom of Yubel is just an additional add to the board while cycling back your materials. Now, of course, if we don't get this in time, then this one will be something that will be more of a future update, but utilize, like, you'd basically just not have the negate on the end of the board. But I feel that we will have this by the time we have Fiendsmiths as well, and I'm highly tempted to put the Fiendsmiths into the deck as well, just to give us a bit more, like, technically you could go into something like a Beatrice, which would be really kind of cool to set you up with some more forms of interruption, and you can make it more of a control build as well, which is really cool, or you just add the DDD in and give you more negates. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go second to show you what this deck can do with a bit more board breaking presence. The idea is just to get Yubel on the board with a Super Poly is, woo, GG bro. But even then, a Nightmare Pain with a Yubel will ultimately also lead you to an OTK, because that will allow you to basically take a lot of damage, or give your opponent a lot of damage. And the OTK pretty much comes off the back of Geist Grinder Golem and a Yubel monster as well, which is really cool. So after that, another decent shuffle just to make sure it's fully refreshed and a good old cut. Our second test stand, now going second, will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, we've got a one-card starter. It's not so bad. We'll start off with Imperm and an Imperm, because at least even if we drop these during our opponent's turn, if you feel your opponent's going to end their board on Omni Negates, I would actually say hold these. So that during the draw phase, you just go Imperm Negate, and they go, okay, Imperm Negate. And then basically what you're doing is straight away you've done a 2 for 2 trade-off. They've had to either negate those Imperms or they're going to take, like, they're going to lose their negate effects on board anyway. So then what you do is, I would activate opening the spirit gates to try and bait out something. Obviously, if you get hit with a droll, not ideal, but you can talent to then steal or talent to look at their hands. We'll go for the Dark Beckoning Beast. We'll normal summon the Dark Beckoning Beast. And this is the only issue when you're playing a two beast and one gates. Obviously, the idea is that the ratios just should be seeing beast before you see gates. But if you do, it means you're not going to be able to search out a second copy of gates, which means you don't have a discard fodder. But as you can see from our hand here, we're in a good position. Now, obviously, the biggest downside is if they do negate the beast, then you don't get your additional normal summon, and you're kind of stuck a little bit. But we're going to then use our additional normal summon off of beast to go into Samsara. Use Samsara's effect. This will then get us into Spirit. Spirit will now get you into Nightmare Pain. Now, you could very easily, if you wanted to, go into Nightmare Throne, and then activate the Nightmare Throne, and then this will allow you to get into the Scrimmer and Shaper as well, so that gives you more access to your new cards. But we're going to be trying to push for an OTK anyway, or do as much damage as possible. Activate Nightmare Pain, pop Spirit. This will then allow you to get into... Let's go for Nightmare Throne, just to kind of show you the new cards. So, I mean, like, obviously Eternal Favourite would be ideal, but if we've got a way to complete an OTK even more consistently, you might as well go for it, right? So Resolve Spirit of Yubel, which is going to give you access to Yubel. And this is where you can start utilising the second effect of Nightmare Throne as well. So we're going to activate Nightmare Throne. This will then allow you to add a Fiend. Now, of course, you could destroy it if you wanted to, but the one you'd probably want to destroy more times than not will be Yubel. So we're just going to go for the Infernal Grave Scrimmer because I just think the card's so good. You're going to special summon this down because you control Fiends. Very easy. Then what you do here is you're going to link these both together. And keep in mind, if at any point you feel threatened by another form of interaction, as soon as you've got your Spirit of Yubel and Samsara in the grave, both of these can go back to the deck to make your Phantom of Yubel. So it's also why I'm highly tempted to try and put in something like a Crush Heap, just because you can bring back an Infernal Grave or a Beast and you just get more resource. Keep in mind as well, we also have the discard fodder off of the back of Spirits of the Gate as well, so you've got more resource to help you out with. So we'll go with Yama. Yama, of course, is going to get you into the Shayama, and this is where your discard comes into great success. There we go. Now, of course, we could have destroyed the Yubel if we wanted to, but ultimately, I think we're going to use that a little bit later on. I mean, like, actually, would it have been worthwhile? I suppose maybe we should have done. Maybe when we summoned down the Scrimmer, we could actually destroy the Yubel, and then this would then float into Terror. So our board would currently look like this instead, which is fine. I think this is probably the better way of doing it. Now, of course, we've got the access of Gate. We still obviously have the Graveyard Revival of the Scrimmer, so if your opponent doesn't know about this, I'd actually hold it back. There's no need to rush into it. Activate Gate, discard the Shayama, bring back Yubel. Now, obviously, what you want to make sure you're doing is that you want to link off the Terra Incarnate, because when you destroy Yubel with the Shayama, it can actually float back the Terra Incarnate, so you're still in a good position. Now, the best thing about this deck as well is it really doesn't care about SP Little Knight's can't attack directly effect, because you never really want to be attacking directly anyway. So if we're going to use Terra Incarnate in the Yama, we'll go into an SP Little Knight. This will then allow us to banish one of our opponent's monsters. Very nice. Before you go any further, I would honestly now put back the Terra Incarnate and then put back Dark Beckoning Beast. And the reason I put back the Terra Incarnate is you could want to bring back the Spirit from the graveyard. Like, you can, if you bring back your Spirit, you've then got another level 10 to help you make Gustav Max, to help you can produce more of an OTK. Plus, the Shayama is going to get you access to the Terra Incarnate anyway, because you're going to pop the Yubel. So, activate the Shayama, you're going to pop the Yubel, you're going to bring it back. You'll then be able to trigger Yubel's effect, and you could trigger the Yama's effect if you wanted to as well. So this will allow you to bring back Spirit of Yubel, or you can bring back original Yubel, doesn't make much of a difference. Then, of course, you would bring out the Terra Incarnate off of the Yubel being destroyed. So this is what your board is currently looking like. The only issue you've got with the Shayama is the Shayama is not going to get you into, like, you can't really link up any higher. So you're only going to be utilising these to go into more fusion materials, or you're going to be utilising them to go into the XYZs, which is, of course, the Gustav Max play. Now, the reason the Gustav Max play is pretty cool is because you can now activate the Grey Scrimmer, bring back the Spirit of Yubel, and you don't even need to use Yama's effect at that point. You would have used it previously to bring back Yubel, so you're in a good position. Then what you do here is you could overlay both of these, you go into Gustav Max, and the reason you would do that is because you're still going to do damage off of the back of Phantom and the Terra Incarnate. So as long as your opponent's got a monster that is 3k or more, you just go into the Gustav Max, use the effect, and even then, before you go into Gustav Mat, you can just go like this and go, okay, cool, well, attack, 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 attack. Your opponent's going to take all the damage that you would technically take, and if that hasn't pushed you to 6k yet either, you just go, okay, cool, sorry, well, to 8k, overlay these, Gustav Max, detach, burn for 2k, GG, bro, and you've still got talents and everything else. So, I actually feel that the deck could even OTK through Pot of Prosperity if they get a board setup like this, which is absolutely mental. Yeah, I really rate the Scrimmer. I'm now thinking the more and more that I play with Scrimmer, the more and more I think Konami might try and put it as a higher rating. But I'm hoping it just matches Lotus and becomes as another super. So, anyway, I really do enjoy this deck. I think the deck, definitely going forward, once we get those new cards, is going to be absolutely insane. The consistency level just goes up so much more. And like I said in the profile, the only card, and this is just if I am looking for a card to be banned on the list, the only card you could possibly imagine would be Super Poly. And even that is a far cry. Like, I don't even expect that to happen. It's like, if someone said to me, look, you have to choose one card that is getting banned that you play in Yubel. Like, there is no question about it. And it has to be the strongest card or the most logical card to be banned. What is it? And you'd probably go Super Poly. It's just that broken. But yeah, this card, 10 out of 10. So, so good. Like, the first effect, really nice. Second effect, broken. Absolutely love it. Such a great card that could be added to the deck. It's really, really cool. And then this one's just insane. Like, this one is like the icing on top of the cake. The two new cards in Throne and Grey Scrimmer are just absolutely insane themselves. And then this one's just like, hey, I heard you like Yubel and you want more? Here you go, have this. So yeah, really, really cool deck. I can't wait to get these cards. I'm probably going to be more impatient for this one because it hasn't been fully confirmed yet. But we get these before Nationals, which is really good, and we don't get this until just before Euros, I think. So maybe I'm going to play Yubel at Nats and then play Yubel at Euros. Who knows? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like I said at the start of the video, if you want to see more versions of this deck or just different versions, then make sure you smash that like button, getting it above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, and I'll be more than happy to bring it for you. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.